Okay, guys. I don't know what happened with this stream, the last one. I don't know what happened. I was online and something went down and it all just went completely and
Two different levels I can never live.
and utterly wrong. So I don't know what the hell happened. But I'm back now. And hopefully this stream will work like it's supposed to. Hopefully it'll work like it's supposed to because I don't know what the heck happened. But welcome to It's Culture Podcast. My name is Mark and I'm the host. And yeah, tonight we gonna we're gonna do what we supposed to do. Um Tell you what, I was talking about Yella Beezy and the stuff with Mo 3. And I tell you, I'm getting tired of seeing rappers kill each other. It's almost as if hip hop is the wrong genre to be in because everybody's getting wet up every single time for no reason. A lot of people thought Yellow Beezy had something to do with this a long time ago. And it reared its ugly head because it actually happened to be that he was involved. And it's a sad state of affairs because now, you know, the family of Mo 3 has finally gotten closure as to who actually orchestrated this hit against him because it was an orchestrated hit. You don't get shot on the interstate um, in a drive-by shooting by accident. No, it was organized. And we know that Yellow Beezy is the culprit behind the hit. So I'm gonna take y'all out to Dallas, let y'all see what happened on the news out there, and then we're gonna talk about it.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I'm Steve Eager. Dallas rapper Marquise Conway, who goes by the name Yella Beezy, was arrested.
Requested court documents outlining the claims by investigators to arrest Conway. We usually are able to get an arrest warrant affidavit. That's where we get a summary of the evidence in the case, but because this case was a grand jury referral, we don't have access to that information. So exactly how Conway is linked to the murder for hire plot is unknown, but it was strong enough information for the grand jury.
Got it. So the murder or hit was almost 5 years ago. What's Conway's current status?
So last check, jail records show that Conway is still in jail being held on a $2 million bond. If he is able to bond out, there's a list of things that he would have to abide by to be in those rules and regulations until his court appearance.
Got it. Okay. All right, Stephen down. Thank you, Stephen.
All right, y'all. So y'all seen that? Yeah, we having some serious issues tonight. I apologize completely on this. Power went out and stuff just kind of just screwed up. So I may have to talk about this one again as the case goes along. But essentially, what happened was Mo 3 was gunned down on like I said, on the street. They had arrested guys in connection to it. They went to trial for it, and then this grand jury indictment came down with the arrest linking Dallas rapper Yellow Beezy to Mo 3's murder, as he's the person who financed it. It takes a very evil person to put money on somebody's head. But it also takes a very, very sinister person to carry out the hit. You willing to take a life for somebody else for payment as a mercenary. and you're inflicting harm on our community. Mo3 was a talented artist. Don't know all the ins and outs of Dallas hip hop scenes and the streets and stuff. I don't deal with that stuff. I'm not the street dude. I don't claim to be one. I don't. That ain't my thing. I think I like the artist's music, but this has become a everlasting cycle over the years. You know, most recently these deaths just happen just too often. Don't know what this was about. I really don't care, to be honest. Don't care about what the beef was about. The fact that somebody ordered a hit to kill somebody just says that you really must hate that person. And also to the fact that he actually thought he had got away with it. That these guys were going to go to jail, go to prison, do their time, and he was just going to be on the streets walking scot-free like the mafioso boss. These guys are in prison, sitting there, counting the days that they losing days of their lives behind bars for a murder that they committed, but you paid them to do. While you out making videos, making more money, doing whatever you want to do, doing podcast interviews, doing everything. They're sitting at home. Well, not at a home. I guess you could consider that it's their home now, but they're behind bars in prison in Texas. And you out scot-free. I'm pretty sure over the years of sitting in jail, these guys realize like, hey, I lost my life because of this. And this dude, he just out there just doing whatever. Especially if you ain't putting nothing on their books and taking care of their families and all that. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody got to talking. You know, being behind those prison walls, I've heard it changes people. You know, everybody want to talk about paperwork and all that stuff. People snitching. Trust me, they do it more often than none. It may not be one of their ops. It may not be somebody in their crew. But they'll start talking eventually. When days turn into weeks and weeks turn into months and months turn into years, and you started looking at yourself in the mirror and life is just outside on. You have loved ones that are passing away while you are just sitting in there. Can't go see your parents when they pass away. Can't see your brother, your sister, or whatever when they pass away. That time starts to get to them. The walls start closing. That 4 foot by 8 foot box starts to close in on people. Make them go insane sometimes. And while you out here, you know, doing your thing, them guys was in jail, in prison. Contemplating and wondering, was the money worth it? Because they can't spend it now. Was the money worth it? Was killing Mo3 for Yella Beezy worth it? Losing your life over. This is a sad cautionary tale, though. This is the stuff that goes on in the black community that needs to be eradicated. We can't move as a people if we keep killing each other. We keep sending each other to prison. Can't build. Like, what's there to beef over? What, territory that you don't own anything there? Blocks that you don't own? Like, I just don't get it. You know, taking shots at each other on the microphone. What, was it a female? Chances are it was. It probably was some woman tied up in this. It always is. Or some shady dice game or something. Something very, very minuscule that they shouldn't be doing anyway, but This is just part of the culture, I guess. It's the part that nobody seems to want to hold anybody accountable for. As soon as you speak out about it, you're hating, and they force and talk about blame to somebody else. They want to point to another racial group or something. And then, you get the proverbial, why you talking about us like that? Why you doing that? Like, because there ain't no accountability. That's why. We have some great creators that are doing that do great music that are being killed for senseless stuff that don't make any sense to me. And it just ain't about the music, because this stuff affects the whole entire community. You get more people involved. And that's what I'm about to talk about next. You get more people involved in your stuff. Because while Yella Beezy was being picked up, Sauce Walka was in Memphis getting shot while leaving a downtown Memphis hotel with Say So P, a Memphis native rapper, who ended up getting shot as well, and he ultimately ended up losing his life behind it. Another one, sad tale, where street violence turns into gang violence on the microphone. So let's go to Memphis and hear what they're talking about, because this is another situation that shouldn't happen.
Crime scene tape covered a portion of downtown Memphis Saturday afternoon after a deadly shooting. Memphis police say it was a targeted incident. It happened just before 2:45 in the afternoon in the 100 block of George W. Lee Avenue, just steps away from the FedEx Forum. Several police vehicles blocked off parts of downtown Memphis as investigators tried to piece together what happened.
They discovered 2 people wounded by gunfire. The officers immediately started rendering first aid to the victims. The officers summoned a Memphis Fire Department ambulance. One of the victims has been pronounced deceased here on the scene. The second victim has been transported to Regional 1 Hospital in critical condition.
In a statement, MPART NPD said, quote, "We want to assure our community and visitors that downtown Memphis is a safe place. This incident was not a random act of violence. MPD is committed to bringing those responsible to justice."
We know the suspects got out of a vehicle and appeared to target the 2 victims as they were in the street. They got back in the car and fled the scene. They fled the car in the car they fled in was a white vehicle. Detectives from the Real-Time Crime Center have tracked that vehicle as it fled into areas outside of Memphis.
If you have any information on this crime, call Crime Stoppers at 901-528-CASH. Reporting for your news leader in downtown Memphis, Tia McKenzie, WRAG News Channel 3.
So, you heard what they said. Just broad daylight. In the middle of the day. They coming out of the hotel, pop, 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 pop. Done. Sauce Walka takes one to the leg. He made a statement, and they posted it on IG. He should make a full recovery. He got shot in the thigh, but Say So P's gone, and he's from Memphis. And one thing I know about is Memphis hip hop scene. All my older siblings live there. That's where my daddy from. I spent a lot of time in Memphis. I know a lot about Memphis, and this murder scene can be summed up in 2 things. Allegiances. There's only 2 crews that are really doing this stuff. We know it. And it's not even the people that probably is part of the label. This is just a bunch of affiliates, man. And this is a cautionary tale, aligning yourself with somebody from a whole nother city and then going to that city not knowing that city's beef. You getting one side of the story. You don't know everything when you pull up to somebody's city and you doing work with somebody. You don't never know. Some cities you inherit the beef. This was another calculated and targeted hit. This wasn't no rando act of violence in the middle of the city in Memphis. This was a coordinated attack. So somebody knew that they were getting ready to leave the hotel. They were casing the joint, and then they pulled up on them and let them have it. It's one or two things. Either somebody in the camp decided that they were going to have a drop on these guys and got paid to let them know, like text, or somebody was casing the joint from the outside waiting for them to come down. And if that's the case, that's just wicked. There they go right there. Let's do it. They get shot in the middle of the day. Early in the day, they're all on Instagram, doing all their little videos, having a little dice game, doing all that stuff. These rappers do a lot online. They do a lot of talking on social media. A lot more than the artists of my day, I guess, because we didn't have social media back in the 90s and the early 2000s. We didn't have no social media. So the only way that they did interviews and stuff like that, they had to go actually to a radio station or go to BET, to 106 in Park. That's about the only way that you had to be marketed that way. Now with social media, they can just market themselves and just come online, and next thing you know, they're a rapper. Everybody a rapper, I guess. Anybody can be a rapper. All you gotta do is just go in the booth and make a song, right? Then you're a rapper. And then if you get a little buzz, because the internet is like that, you can put your stuff out, and if you do enough content, people gonna start seeing you. I mean, it's an algorithm. That's just how it is. That's how some of you all found me. It's an algorithm. So they can market themselves. So they get a little following, get a nice little following. But now you done aligned yourself with somebody from a city where there's a lot of beef going on. And this has been going on for a while now. And it's two crews. And all the affiliates. And now, you post up, you come into Memphis, you're hanging out with your homeboy. He done inherited some beef that you don't know nothing about. And then you come out, pop, and get hit right along with him. Luckily enough for Sauce was that, this wasn't fatal for him. But for Say So P, this was fatal. He's gone now. And the Memphis police, they very slow to act. They gonna look at this and say, this is some rap beef. As soon as they find out what's going on, that's all they're gonna say. They may not even look for these guys. They may, but it might be long gone. I mean, they say they got a white vehicle and the vehicle went out of town. Who knows? This may have been some guys not even local to Memphis. They may have came into Memphis because they knew that Sauce was there. Think about when, what's his name? Julio, whatever his name was, down there in Florida. What did they do? He went to go celebrate his birthday in a whole nother city in Florida. And them boys came down there and handled business and took him out. And they were from Jacksonville. That's what happens. Y'all be putting too much stuff online. These rappers, y'all be putting y'all business online and then y'all beefing online. So that just amps everything. And ain't nobody immortal. There's nobody immortal that's living right now. We live in a sick world. People are ready to die over BS. And I just don't understand it. These guys are too young to be losing their lives. But when you live that life, it's dangerous. That's why they be doing all them drugs. Because they can't cope. All the stress. For nonsense. I was telling some of my friends down in Georgia, I was just down there this past weekend. And I said, some of my childhood friends, I said, it's almost as if it's easier to do bad than it is to do good. It seems like being a good person is just a hard thing to do. Because there's negativity and doing bad shit is just all around you all the time. It is so easy just to do the wrong thing because it's just easier. It just seems like doing the right thing it just takes too much effort, right? Like disassociate yourself with different people. Seems like the hardest thing to do, right? But it's just so easy to have them around and they could be the ones that's getting you caught up in stuff. I don't know how many more of these rappers gonna keep dying before these guys just stop this. But it don't seem like it's slowing down anytime soon. And I just wish that it would. We are losing too many young brothers to nonsense. We can't do no community building. We can't even come together to do stuff. We can't come together as a people, but we want to talk about things that's going on in Washington, D.C. But we never want to talk about what's going on in front of our own front door. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I wish I did, though. I wish I did. So, but still in Memphis. We're still in Memphis. Because that wasn't the only murder that happened in Memphis. A prominent pastor in Memphis got killed. And this story is so weird because I believe the pastor was in the wrong. You never want to hear that about pastors, right? You never want to hear that pastors are out here doing something. But this whole story about this one, when you hear it, it's going to make you think, what was he even thinking?
First at 5 on your news leader, the shooting death of a beloved pastor and prominent leader in Memphis left plenty of people stunned, many asking, why would anyone kill Pastor Ricky Floyd? Well, tonight, only on News Channel 3, video showing a portion of what happened the night Pastor Floyd was shot to death. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Greg Hurst.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Skurlock. WREG has viewed the video provided to us by the attorneys of the woman charged with shooting Floyd. We have carefully considered the weight of what's shown and the sensitivity to all involved in this tragedy. But we also believe it's an important part of the story and one you deserve to see.
So they just setting this up. They about to break down the entire thing. So this is going to be like a kind of long. I kind of shortened it a little bit, but I want y'all to see this. I really want y'all to pay attention. Just pay attention.
Here's WREG investigator April Thompson.
Plenty of speculation surrounding the shooting of Pastor Ricky Floyd outside Mama's Bar and Kitchen March 12th. Phone video captured what appears to be some of the final moments of Pastor Floyd's life. It shows the Tahoe truck he is in putting on brakes, Pastor Floyd getting out, walking toward the person shooting the video as they yell to back up.
I'm backing back 3 times now. When I do that, you know, back the up. Back the up.
All right, y'all. The pastor hopped out the vehicle. He looked like he was furious. He hops out the vehicle, and you're hearing what sounds like 2 women voices that he is charging at. Let's keep going.
Then the video drops out. WREG sat down with the attorneys for Samantha Marion, charged with shooting Pastor Floyd to death. They say the video speaks for itself.
All right. So now we know that there's a woman behind this. We heard 2 voices. This man is charging. Look at him. Look at him. This is supposed to be a pastor. Now, mind you, they had a bar and grill. I know some people, I saw some comments when I was reading this story. People were like, why would a pastor be at a bar and grill? Well, I mean, it's just like a regular sports bar, like a regular restaurant. He not allowed to go out and get something to eat because the establishment sells alcohol. Like, I mean, y'all really think pastors don't drink? Really? Just because they stand in front of a pulpit don't mean that they ain't fleshy. They still do the exact same stuff we do. They just happen to be standing on stage speaking. But let's keep going.
The video does not capture the gunfire that would have taken place probably maybe 3 or 4 seconds later, but it clearly shows him approaching her aggressively after being told several times to stop and that he should not be, walking up on her like that.
Keith Perry says his client, Samantha Marion, was behind the camera shooting the video. And it came after Marion and a man she had met that night got into a heated religion discussion with Pastor Floyd inside the bar. Perry says when everyone was leaving, Pastor Floyd walked toward Marion, and the man got between them.
So they inside the bar. It gets heated inside the bar. And all of a sudden, wham, it takes it outside. It seems that a lot of people are overly emotional. I don't know if these people were drinking or not. They don't say it. We haven't found that out yet. But let's keep going.
He stands in front of Reverend Floyd. He's knocked to the ground by Reverend Floyd, and when he does, the back of his head hits the pavement, and he becomes a little stunned or dazed. Reverend Floyd then takes the telephone of Miss Marion, and he throws it to the ground, and he hurled a couple of insults or what have you, and then starts to walk off.
That's when he says Samantha Marion picks up her phone and starts videoing the license plate of the truck, since she had never met Floyd before.
So she didn't even know this dude. Never met him. They get into it. She done pushed them down, shoved them. Like he's already assaulted them once already. So she gets up to record the situation because she can make sure that she try to, make sure that she gets the information so she could file a report, I guess. I don't know what she was gonna do. I guess she was gonna go back inside, try to get some camera footage to see and get him in trouble for something. But let's keep going.
That's where the video picks up.
Whatever triggered him, he was upset with Mrs. Marion. He fought through two individuals to get to her, and watching him storm from the vehicle and approach her, it was clear that his intentions was definitely not to give her a hug and say, hey, let's work this out. But he had aggression in his heart and in his mind.
WREG acknowledges that this is only one piece of video from that night, and it does not include what police have described as Pastor Floyd holding his hands up and walking backwards away from Marion before falling to the ground. Out of respect for Pastor Floyd's family, WREG reached out to a family spokesperson and shared the video. It was their first time seeing it.
At this difficult time, we're just totally focused on prayer and maintaining our faith in the justice system. We trust that it will fulfill its purpose and provide us the answers and the accountability that is essential right now.
I'm kind of confused with that one, the accountability. I mean, as far as what I see from this video now, obviously this is just one angle. I'm pretty sure if there was a restaurant, hopefully they had cameras somewhere else around. But it seems like he's the aggressor in this. And she is actually kind of telling him to back up, and he is charging at her. So, I mean, she's already been assaulted once. She was already pushed to the ground. So he threw her phone down, and then he comes back. And now you see he seems like he is on one. So I don't understand the accountability piece because I just don't see how they charge this woman with murder. I just don't.
But Marion's attorneys believe the video shows their client was defending herself, and that should have been taken into consideration when she was in jail 7 days and given a $100,000 bond.
You're witnessing a person that has just been assaulted and is getting a tag number and trying to do what they're supposed to do, and you're witnessing a person who, despite the great 58 years that he has lived, and we're not asking anybody in the public to measure him by that last 30 minutes of his life or what have you, but for that last 30 minutes was angry.
For your news leader in Memphis, April Thompson, WREG News Channel 3.
Okay. I don't know. But from my standpoint, it looked like this pastor was in the wrong. And this should have been self-defense. You just can't get out your car and just go charging at somebody. He literally was leaving. He should have just left. But his ego his ego as a man, wouldn't allow him just to ride off without him trying to get a get back. This woman warned him a couple of times, back up, back up, back up. And it seemed like she was backing up because he kept coming forward. And if you saw it in the camera, she was backing up and he kept coming forward. At this point, I don't know, she seemed like she's kind of, most guys, this guy looked like he's pretty a heavy set guy, kind of tall. He might have been intimidated. And the fact that she said she didn't know who he was, how would she know that he was a pastor? How did she know that he was a mega church pastor in Memphis, Tennessee? She had never seen him before. There's plenty of pastors in my town that got big churches that I've never seen. Never seen. And I'm pretty sure you all are the same way. So what does this woman do? What do you do in this situation? What do you do? Like, seriously, like, what do you do in this situation when this is the outcome? Is this self-defense? Is this second-degree murder? Because in my eyes, this should have been self-defense. They had this video. I don't understand how Memphis police could come to the rationalization that this was second-degree murder. Now, I will tell you this. With this case, the prosecutor had to recuse himself. Why? Because him and the pastor got some business dealings. So he had to recuse himself off the case. She was being held. I mean, she's been bonded out since this happened. She's been bonded out. But I found it odd that they had the district attorney had to recuse himself. I'm going to see who's going to pick this case up. They're going to have to bring in a special prosecutor from somewhere. But this pastor is prominent. Very prominent pastor. And we know how the community is when it comes to clergymen. So as that woman was saying, hey, we're just going to pray and see how it goes. I'm pretty sure they want the woman to be held accountable because they can't see the wrong in the pastor. And she said that they had never seen the video. All they knew is that he got shot and killed. So now you see the video and they still, what is their attitude? Do they still believe that she should be held accountable? Or do they feel now that she may have been a victim of a violent encounter with a pastor that they had who they held in high regard? I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how this pans out, but I'll keep y'all up to date. I'm gonna stay abreast of these cases that's coming up. All three of these cases that I just talked about. So as they progress, I'll keep you all informed, and we'll do like updates and stuff like that. I won't make full segments about them, but I'll do updates. Now, the next one, this is disgusting. Have y'all heard about what happened at the University of Michigan? Okay, so University of Michigan's football team, the football team in particular, has had a lot of scandals over the last couple of years, even though they won the national championship last year. This school has been, this football program has been rocked with a bunch of stuff. Cheating allegations, impermissible benefits, you name it, coaches changes, just a whirlwind of just problems at the University of Michigan. Just problems. Well, they got a bigger one now. And this issue involves the former offensive coordinator. Now, as y'all hear this, as we go through this, I say he's fired. He was fired back in 2022 because the school knew about this. But back in 2022. But I guess they didn't know to the breadth, in the depth of what this man was up to. Now, Michigan State had the doctor that was doing all the assault on the female gymnasts. We know Simone Biles and Allie Raceman and all those girls. That, Dr. Nassar went to prison for many years because of this. Dr. Larry Nassar. Just despicable man. Well, I think that this guy going to be sharing his cell with him. So just take a listen to this, and we'll talk about it.
A big story coming out of Ann Arbor. A former U of M coach is accused of serious internet crimes. He's facing federal charges after he reportedly hacked into student-athletes' accounts all to get personal items. Our Terrell Bailey explains from Ann Arbor tonight.
A shocking new indictment accuses a former U of M football coach of hacking thousands of student athletes. It's a situation students on campus find simply bizarre. Former U of M quarterbacks coach and co-offensive coordinator Matthew Weiss facing 14 counts of unauthorized access to computers and 10 counts of aggravated identity theft. Weiss reportedly downloaded personally identifiable information from over 150,000 student athletes nationwide, all from a database.
I definitely like to think the best in people, and hearing that someone has abused their power definitely is upsetting to hear, especially when it comes at the cost of students' information.
After allegedly hacking the database, Weiss is accused of hacking email and social media accounts of over 2,000 athletes by guessing or resetting their passwords. Federal prosecutors say he then downloaded personal intimate pictures and videos. Court documents state Weiss allegedly kept notes on the items he saw.
It's definitely really scary, I would say, especially coming from like somebody that's in a position of power.
The accused crimes range from 2015 until January of 2023. Before joining U of M in 2021, Weiss was on the coaching staff for the Baltimore Ravens for 12 seasons.
I would definitely wonder who else on the campus or who else in a position of power might be abusing their right.
In early 2023, U of M put the former coach on leave after reported computer access crimes. Weeks later, he was fired.
It's just you never really know like who a person is or like what they're capable of, and you just gotta be a little careful.
We reached out to U of M for comment. We were told to contact the FBI. Now, if convicted, Weiss faces over 50 years in prison. In Washtenaw County, Terrell Bailey, CBS News, Detroit.
This man was a computer nerd. And I'm going to tell you how he did this. So he had access to these accounts because he was an investor in a tech firm that handled the student records. 150,000 student athletes from many colleges across this country. This man had access to all their personal information. If you are a parent of a student athlete that is in college, if I were you, I would be calling the FBI to find out if Matt Wise had access to your kid's personal information. Because they got him on 14 counts. It should be an account. He should have 150,000 counts because he hacked all these people's information. It should have been 150,000 counts of identity theft. He targeted the female athletes. The guy's a perv. Let's just call it what it is. Hacking their accounts, resetting their passwords, and then he got access to all the information on their phones. All their emails, private stuff, text messages, downloads of photos. Like just sick and perverted stuff, man. And it's sad that we got these sex crazed and like it's like an addiction. I guess because porn is everywhere. You know, it's all on every single social media site. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. This stuff has just got people so messed up in the head, especially guys. It got them so screwed up in the head. They just walking around like horny frat boys, and then you taking people's records, their passwords, invading their privacy, and downloading their content so you could go back and look at it. We know what happens when people start to collect data on other people, especially men. When they start collecting data on women, they start putting profiles together. This was the makings of a man about to do some, either be a serial stalker or a serial killer. Because he was on that path. He was zeroing in on certain records, certain women, certain body types, certain hair color. He was zeroing in, getting laser focused. This man was on the verge of being a serial killer. Just sick and perverted. And the fact that we got men like this that are supposed to be around student athletes doing this is just another twisted game. And there's always at these PWIs that is going on at. Just sick and perverted. You don't hear this stuff being being done at HBCUs. Just sorry. Michigan State. Unless there's something going on in Michigan. But it seems like these Big Ten schools, y'all got some issues. Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan State, Michigan. And there's always some coach that wants to be doing some crazy, freaky stuff, targeting and violating the rights of the student athletes. I hope he gets convicted of, and I hope they give him life in prison. He don't need to be outside ever again. 50 years is what you're looking at in the Fed. They're not going to get nobody 50 years if they're not going to give him life. At the most, he'll probably do 25 with them. Then again, who knows? Depends on how much data he had and where he had access to. But right now, we know that he had intimate photos and stuff like that. And even, I don't care if he had just a name. He shouldn't. Why are you collecting data on people that you don't know? So, like I said, if you all have family members too, kids, or family members, if you got friends who got kids who are student athletes, please have them contact the FBI and find out if this man had access to their records, because you don't know what he did. And you don't want your daughter to be one of these victims of this guy's sick and twisted fantasy. Just despicable. And then finally tonight, George Foreman. Rest in peace to George Foreman. Iconic boxer. He died over the weekend. Just you could tell. I saw George Foreman's documentary. Obviously, when he was boxing, I was a kid. I didn't get to catch like the Michael Moore fight. I think I was Michael Moore was young when that fight happened. But I remember him getting dropped by George with those big, George was like 46 years old when he fought Michael Moore. I think Michael Moore was probably like 31, maybe 30. He was just coming up in the heavyweight division. And George put it on him. Them heavy hands, like just bricks. The way he used to throw them, it's like those guys, those heavyweights used to slug, man. They used to absolutely slug. So I know those guys were getting brain damage and all kind of stuff because they were just throwing just haymakers at each other. But George was one of those boxers who decided he was marketable. He was marketable. He was very, very marketable, very, very humble, God-fearing man. He became a pastor and a preacher of a church. And I think post his boxing career, he is most notable known for that George Foreman grill. And if you like me, everybody got a George Foreman. That lean, mean grilling machine has saved me a plenty of days when I just ain't feel like fried up some pots and pans. Hey, it's easy to turn that thing on and just throw your meat on there and let it cook. I have made some meals with the George Foreman, okay? And I'm pretty sure you all have too. It's probably one of the greater appliance, portable appliances that you can have in your house. Just like the air fryer, But George Foreman, I remember the commercials when he first was started with the lean green machine. They had different sizes that you could buy, and then you could take like the grease and pour it back in. Oh my goodness, he was very good at marketing, very, very good at marketing, and he had a likable smile. and people just loved him. So, sending prayers out and condolences out to his family. George named all his boys George, which was kind of unique. That was one thing I remember growing up hearing. Like, so all his sons named George. They're like, yeah, all his sons named George. But just a great man in general. Don't know him personally, but based on what I've seen of him, I've never really heard of any scandals with George Foreman. He was just people took advantage of him with his money and stuff and shady deals and stuff like that. But as far as him, he was a great God-fearing man. So prayers and to the family. Rest in peace to George Foreman, dead at the age of 76. So that does it for the show tonight, y'all. I like I said, I apologize for all of these difficulties. We're gonna have to get these technical difficulties under control. I want to be able to produce great content, not just mediocre content. You all are taking time out to listen to me and rock with me, and I want to make sure that I'm giving y'all a great product. Like, I don't want to be giving. I don't do anything half-ass, and I definitely don't want to do anything half-ass with this because without y'all, this channel doesn't grow. I don't get subscribers without y'all tuning in, and you all are not going to be tuning in to garbage. Nobody wants to support a bad product. Nobody wants to subscribe to that. So I'm not going to give y'all that. Definitely not going to give y'all that. So thank you all so much for tuning in. I'll be doing the shows throughout the week. Nothing live, but just regular recorded shows as things come along. Thursday night is the next live show, 7 p.m. I promise you guys, we're not going to have no technical difficulties. I'm going to be working on this all week to make sure everything is smooth and running right. But until next time, Culture Nation, let's keep it culture. Peace out. Love you guys.